Hey all, this is Stephanie with Energy Alliance. Welcome to my Thursday Tarot Insight. Every Thursday I pick one tarot card, highlights and harnesses the energy of the collective. So all that's kind of going on for the bigger picture. And then I talk about how to take that information and use it in your individual lives. So this week, another great card. Last week we had the Sun, a big, bright, powerful, and beautiful card about connection, love, bringing in the new from above, and bringing in the new, birthing something new into the collective. And this week we have the Nine of Water called Rainbow Mirror. And so we have a water card, which water is all about the emotions. And the 9 is getting towards the end of our cycle. I've talked a lot about this. We have a 1 through 10 cycle in the tarot. And these suit cards, the water, which is sometimes referred to as the cups in other decks. We have the swords, we have fire, and we have earth. So different symbols for different elements. And the water is about emotions. So let's look closely at this card. There's a lot going on here. And I always get an initial phrase or some initial words about the cards right when I pull them. And then I kind of riff off from there and look more deeply into what the meaning of the expression is. For this card, the phrase that immediately came was, our emotional capacity has deepened. So what does this mean? Our emotional capacity has deepened. We are deepening and fine-tuning our senses. It's exactly what's happening. We're deepening, fine-tuning our senses. Our emotions are becoming more nuanced. So look at all the activity in this card. It's not chaotic. It's actually very connected, and it's very detailed, and it's very purposeful. So what this is showing us is that we are recognizing ourselves in all that we see. We are beginning to awaken as a collective to the fact that we are nuanced beings. We are intricate. We are complicated. We are complex, each and every single one of us. So the fact that we are nuanced beings with a variety of very complex and intricate, and once again, the word nuanced keeps coming up, nuanced emotions, expressions, etc. So we're, as a humanity, as a collective, starting to really embrace, starting to really embody the fact that it's not black and white. Our emotions aren't black and white. Our situations aren't black and white. Our lives aren't black and white. We as people are very complex. Our systems are complex. And we are finally starting to really embrace this as a collective. So as you can see in this card, there's no longer black and white. There's a variety of shades. And not only are there a variety of shades and emotions and situations and thoughts, etc., but each of us is being reflected. Each of us are reflected in these shades. So we find these shades, and we find these varieties, and we find these ways of being, ways of thinking, ways of doing, reflected in us somewhere it's reflected in us. And this shows the totality of us as an individual and the totality of us as a collective, and all of the intricate connections, all the intricate shades and patternings. And somewhere we find a reflection of us. So deepening of compassion and empathy is what this card is really showing us. A time where we are starting to, because we're starting to recognize ourselves out there, or ourselves in somebody else, or ourselves in the group, or ourselves in the other, we are starting to deepen our compassion and deepen our empathy. So how can we bring this down into our individual lives? So one way to do it is to start asking these questions. Can you celebrate differences? Can you celebrate differences in somebody else? And you celebrate differences in your way of thinking from somebody else? Can you celebrate differences in how somebody is being in the world? Can you celebrate them? Can you celebrate the fact that there are differences? And looking at this card, we're looking at, there's so many, right? There's so many. Can we celebrate something else? Another way of being. And can you recognize yourself and others? Can you look around and see something that's not like you and find something in that is like you? Can you see a vibration of you in something that looks completely not like you? And look at all the different varieties. If this was one person, look at all the ways that you could find something similar to you, something. Can you find a way to connect what seems unconnectable, right? Can you find a way in? This is the beginning of our collective cultivation of connection. So our collective cultivation of connection, how do we start doing that? Is by looking at something that doesn't seem like anything that we can relate to and finding something that we can relate to within that. So this is the beginning of our collective connecting in a deeper way. And how we start to do that is by doing it in our individual lives. So it's happening. When I pull these cards that are giving me information about the collective, that means the energy is there. It's available to us. It's actually starting off its energy, and it's moving and evolving and cultivating, and it's expanding for all of us. Yay for this. But a way to connect to it, to be aware, to relate with this energy that's coming in a bigger way for all of us, is to start from within to cultivate it in ourselves. And when we start to cultivate energy in ourselves that reflects the energy that's coming in a bigger way for our collective, we start to match with it, and it helps us to feel more easeful in these big transitions that are happening energetically for all of us. So when you're here listening to me talk about Tarot and the energetics of Tarot, I'm imagining that you have an understanding or a belief that there's something bigger than us. And the belief that I'm bringing here is that there's these energies at work here that are asking us to communicate with them. And these energies are possibilities. And as a collective humanity, we are a bigger picture of ourselves as individuals. So when we start to cultivate and be mindful and be more aware of how we're walking and working in the world, then we are connecting with the ongoing evolution of our collective. And we're just helping each other out. And in the process, we're also making it more easeful for ourselves and others around us. We're making it more of a flow of life, a more of a deepening of life, and a more of an adventure, and a more of a curiosity. And it becomes way more interesting and way more joyful when we live our life from a place of awareness. So take a last look at this card and asking ourselves again, where can we find connection in things that we may have never seen a connection? It's kind of our way in. Where can we find our way in? And it doesn't have to be an arduous process. It could just be the asking and seeing where it shows up. Thanks again for showing up, watching my Tarot Insights. I'm so happy to pull these last 2 weeks of cards that have been bright, full of potential, full of positivity. It is positive for us as a collective, despite what we're always seeing out there in the media. And I wish you lots of love and deep awareness. Take care till next week. Bye.